we didn't really see this coming. There was no hint that was going to be like a lien on your property. Mine's a residential building, but sadly, for those that have businesses in their buildings, where are you going to get these kinds of affordable lease spaces for small businesses?
And what if you don't sign the city's?
Well, that'll be interesting because, you know, I'm sure they'll have a fine per day, you know, in it. It's going to be enforced by the fire inspectors as they go around.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to, you know, because we have yearly inspections. So, am I being recorded right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have told me that. What is this for?
I'm a cop watcher. I film the police, but I also do political stuff, too.
Oh, I see. So I'm not going to see this on the nightly news. Hey.
No, it's not.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, this will be on my YouTube channel, but it's important for people to hear what other people are going through.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I still haven't figured out. You told me more than what anyone else has said.
Well, there's a lot more. That's like, you know, I could give you a lot more if you really are interested. The thing about it is the total cost, they're thinking, a rough estimate, would be $1.3 billion to do some level of upgrading of these buildings for the 1,640 buildings. Nick Fish and I think Chloe's staff even decided we have a lot better ways in Portland to spend $1.3 billion.
Yeah.
A brick has never killed anybody in Portland. We're fine with bicyclists being killed. Now we're going to have scooters running around. There's going to be deaths on those. This is a land grab. This is about the land underneath our buildings. The developers want to go, and Wheeler loves new development.
Yeah.
You know, that's really underlying what this is about. And historically, I could tell you. Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry, I got interrupted here.
Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah, but thanks for coming down. Really appreciate it. And I'll get that paperwork to you. I've been buried with my mother's health issues. I'm having to move her from independent living to assisted living. But I'll get that to you. It's no biggie anyway. I mean, we're fine. Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for coming down.
So
one of my tenants.
What's scary for me is my dad has a house that was built in 1912. Right? It has the old ice thing where you put the big block of ice in. And that's how you kept things cold.
For refrigeration.
Yeah. It also has a potato cellar.
Yeah, root cellar.
Root cellar.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely not earthquake resistant.
Yeah.
If a major earthquake happened, the house would probably go down.
Yeah.
Okay. If they went to my dad, because my dad's retired, he doesn't make that much money, but he gets a little retirement check.
He limps along.
Yeah, and I take care of my dad, right? And I'm on disability myself. There's no way in the world we'd be able to afford upgrading our house to where it would be able to be earthquake resistant.
It's brutal. Some of this is. The thing about this is if you want to talk about safety, if it were really about safety like they say it is, what's the first thing that we would do? We would address all of the gas lines going in all of these buildings. So when the big one comes and they rupture, we wouldn't have fires all over the place burning down wood buildings. And so if you look at the earthquake in San Francisco back in the early 1900s, you look at all of the wood buildings burned down, the ones you see left were brick ones standing up.
Yeah.
And yet those are the photos that they use in city council to say that this is what happens to San Francisco. It's like, wait, that's the wrong message. The only ones left standing are some of the brick ones. This is idiocy, They've been so disingenuous in this process. I got involved only a year ago, May, so it'll have been 2 years ago this April, I think it was, and I met Angie. You know Angie Even?
No.
She's the gal, if you really want a lot of information, you should talk to her. She might have just left. She's right there. Tim standing there. She's right behind the tall fellow standing there.
Okay.
She's the gal who went to these meetings 3.5 years ago, just with she and her husband alone. And she started asking questions when it had to do with this URM stuff, seismic stuff. Well, they convened 3 different committees. The genesis of all of this started with Steve Novick. He decided he needed an engine to drive the fear to get land for the developers. And the article that appeared in the New Yorker, are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
It was penned here in his kitchen by a relative of his wife. And that's the most read article ever in New Yorker history. And that was this is way before this stuff even started. He was really forward thinking, you know. So that was the fear factor thing that started driving all of this.
Well, fear drives a lot of political stuff.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
You know.
What is more powerful than fear?
Yeah.
If you want to get something done.
Right.
Well, thanks for your interest in this. Really appreciate it. It's going to be the death knell of a lot of these buildings. In fact, I was talking to a guy that owns a lot of property in San Francisco, and he bought one on Northwest Gleason 2 years ago, a brick building. Got in touch with me because he knew I'd just done my seismic upgrade of my roof and wanted some numbers. I spoke with him for about half an hour. He said, I'm going to love this because these buildings are going to be going for really cheap now. And I'm going to 1031 tax deferred exchange my stuff out of San Francisco up into these buildings. You know, and he probably can afford some level of retrofitting.
Yeah.
But
the sad thing is they had an earthquake in the Bay Area in the 90s, and it dropped one of the upper parts of the bridge onto the lower part.
right. Yeah, was that in Oakland?
That was in Oakland.
Yeah, in Oakland. Yeah, pancaked that structure and killed some people and flattened cars. I think a baseball game, was it the World Series baseball
Yeah, it was
game?
the World Series.
That was going on that very day.
Yeah.
Ouch. What is your name?
My name is Bob.
Bob.
My YouTube channel is Robert West.
Robert West? Well, I'll go to it.
All right.
Yeah, and if you want any more on this, and there's a lot more, there's Alan Clausen right there in the hood. He's the editor of the Northwest Examiner. He's been our biggest ally in this. 'Cause he
This
hits
guy
the
right
nail
here?
on the head. Yep.
All right.
Hi, Alan. What'd you think?
That shake the timbers?
Yeah, what'd you think of ED, huh? He's quite a speaker, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
We met ED. We got a call. Angie got a call one day that they were going to have a meeting with 18 of the black ministers. And so John Hollister was going to go with her, but he was having some heart issues, so I went with her, and we both spoke that evening. And that's where I met ED. And he sat in the back row for a while, and then after a while he got up there, you know, and then the next morning he had a breakfast meeting at the NAACP headquarters at 5 or 6. But sadly, they didn't really get real involved in our meetings over at the pub, you know. So I thought, well, maybe they're. Plus, the city gave them their own deal.
They did, and I think this is
Trying
very
to divide and conquer.
Yeah, but this is strategic, allowing them to be part of the press conference, like maybe the point of the spear or something.
Yeah.
And then you get the fuller message of how broadly it is.
Well, we viewed it as a great opportunity to form an alliance, you know, with them. And at the breakfast meeting that morning, they wanted to meet with Wheeler that very day. And I said, you guys today will get more from Wheeler and the city council than we've done in 3 years. Because they don't dare go there with racism on us, you know. So by the end of that evening, Wheeler was flying back from Boston. Well, you know the whole story, don't you? You've written the story, I think, haven't you?
I don't know.
He was
I read
flying
about the
back,
flight,
and he
but I
was
heard
in
it.
the air, and he drove from the airport straight to a meeting with those guys. But then he slipped him kind of a banana peel. He had a black fellow who was an outgoing chief of staff, I believe. And then he left. We were left the meeting. And this guy.
I was going to say, that's the guy who kicked me out of the meeting.
Right. That what was that? Hennessy? No, he's Hennessy's the guy that used to work for Nike. And
I'm trying to remember.
he was probably his outgoing chief of staff.
He went to primary.
And I don't know his name. But
Well,
yeah, I heard they
looked it
gave you
up.
the boots because they didn't want anybody there who could, you know. spill the beans
Yeah, and then you
on how
know,
diabolical it can really be.
So I heard you know quite a bit about what's going on with this.
well, I've been following it for a year or two.
What's going to be the consequence if people don't sign the lien?
I don't know at all. I mean, just the whole lien process is new to me too. I mean, the city probably would have some enforcement powers, but if the defiance is broad enough, I mean, the whole thing might break down and then have to.
They probably have something like a $500 a day. They probably will put in, some non-compliance thing.
That would
It would be prohibitively expensive.
that would make it. That means that people would be signing under duress.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can't sit there and say either sign this loan or we'll fine you.
Yeah.
Well, no, they can. They can impose fines on you for all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Oh, they can fine you. The problem is sit there and say either sign this and give us the lien, right? A lien holder on the property, or we'll fine you. That's illegal.
You're aware we filed a lawsuit, right?
Yeah, I filed
Yeah.
still.
No, one's about, 3 weeks ago, John D. Lorenzo filed one on by Imbu and some of the rest of us. They're going to discount their legal fees by 50%, and Imbu raised $75,000, and we've raised about 68 or 69,000. So that's the equivalent of having 300,000 online to push this as far as it
Yeah,
has to.
that will go.
That's enough money to do something. Hopefully.
Good. All right. Love it. Love it.
There was somebody who
Good. Well,
It was good seeing you, Alan. Haven't seen you for a while. Yeah. I'm still in touch with Dave Norvik. He's up in Portland, and I wrote him a long email. We're really quite good friends, but he wasn't seeing it this way at all. But when he saw this lien thing, well, that was a game changer. He gets liens.
all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is pretty much blindside. And they planned on all this.
Hey, it's nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, take care.
All right.
Basically scroll down and there'd be like a couple. I don't know that. Like, they used to be.
And it won't take and nothing at all.
So, ma'am. Let's see. I got a question. I heard that you know quite a bit about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. From who?
Oh, a couple people over there.
Okay.
What I was curious about is the lien thing surprised me. And the other thing that surprised me is that no one seems to know what the consequence if you don't sign the lien for the city to have the lien.
So I don't know a lot about that, but what I did read was that evictions are possible. And don't quote me on that because I don't know how solid that answer is, but what I did read was that evictions are possible, and should evictions happen, nowhere does it say that people are responsible for, that the city's responsible for paying the relocation fees for the people who are evicted. But that's the only detail that I know in regards to what happens if you don't do that.
Okay. Yeah, because that really concerns me because the city's I guess city's coming in and saying, well, you sign this thing that gives us a lien on your property. And it's like, well, why? You haven't given me nothing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that is largely part of the problem as well, is that the city hasn't even approached to have the conversation yet, which when you take an entire environment of livelihood for people and then suddenly that's not actually your livelihood, it's the city's livelihood.
Yeah.
But surprise, the city didn't tell you that before. They just showed up one day and said you have to sign a contract. It's terrifying.
It is. And one thing that interests me, my dad has a house that was built in 1912. It has all the old stuff, the freezer where you used to put the block ice in, root cellar down